I first remember arriving at Emma's house with a mix of excitement and a strange sense of trepidation. The moment I stepped off the sidewalk, a friendly dog bounded up to greet me, its warmth contrasting with the subtle unease I felt. The scent of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, a comforting presence that made the home feel welcoming, yet oddly uncanny. Even as a teenager visiting a friend's family, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off beneath the surface. As I walked through the open door, I tried to focus on Emma's welcoming smile and the homely atmosphere, but quiet, almost imperceptible tapping sounds crept into my awareness. I dismissed them at first, attributing the noises to normal house creaks or the sounds of Florida weather outside. Still, those tapping sounds lingered in the background of my thoughts, like a subtle reminder that I was not alone. It was as if the house itself was whispering secrets I was too young to fully understand. I spent the early hours exploring the layout of the house, feeling a blend of curiosity and unease. The warm, familiar details of a suburban home, like the patterned curtains and worn wooden floors, were interlaced with a strange energy that seemed to lurk in the corners. Every now and then, the feeling of being watched or followed by unseen eyes returned, making me pause and listen more intently. Despite the comforting presence of Emma and her family, there was a layer of mystery that I couldn't ignore. During these visits, I began noticing that some areas of the house, such as the quiet garage and the cozy yet subtly off-master bedroom, gave off a different vibe. They hinted at a hidden story, something unsaid that filled the space with a tension I couldn't put into words. Emma would casually mention small family anecdotes, but I sensed she might be holding back deeper truths about her home. The discrepancy between the friendly environment and the undercurrent of strangeness made each visit feel both normal and disturbed. I tried to maintain a logical perspective, telling myself that what I felt was just my imagination running wild. Yet every gentle creak of the floor or distant hum of the house amplified my growing curiosity and fear. It felt strange to be caught between the innocence of young love and the daunting possibility that I was confronting something beyond normal understanding. The peaceful suburban setting contrasted with the eerie sensations I was beginning to experience, making my heart race with both excitement and anxiety. By the end of my visit that day, I knew I would return, not just because of Emma, but also because of the mysteries her house held. The familiarity of the neighborhood and the warm interactions with the family could not fully dispel the haunting tension that had taken root within me. I walked away from the house with more questions than answers, a teenager standing on the threshold of a journey into the unknown. I still recall the day I decided to investigate the strange, scratching noises that came from the closet. It was a quiet afternoon when I followed the eerie sounds down the hall, my curiosity mingling with a rising sense of dread. The closer I got, the louder the scratching became, as if something or someone was trying to communicate through the walls. When I finally opened the closet door, my heart pounded in my chest, and I discovered scratch marks lining the inside walls, an unsettling sight that defied all logical explanation. The marks seemed deliberate, etched by an unseen force that left me trembling, yet more determined to uncover their meaning. After witnessing the scratch marks, I sought out Emma's older sister, who had always seemed to pick up on subtle shifts in the house's atmosphere. She was visibly shaken when she saw what I had found, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and concern. She shared that the family had noticed unsettling changes for a while, but hadn't known how to confront them. Her calm yet worried demeanor helped me feel less alone, but it also deepened the mystery. I struggled to balance my own disbelief with the growing realization that these occurrences were not just figments of my imagination. As days turned into weeks, the strange events continued, and our household felt increasingly like a setting from a horror movie. The family cat, once a source of comfort, began to seem suspicious. We thought the cat might be behind the noises, but the evidence suggested otherwise. It was frustrating and confusing to have a familiar presence that might be part of the problem, adding a layer of misdirection to our situation. I often found myself second-guessing whether the creature causing the disturbances was entirely supernatural, or something more mundane taking a twisted form. The more time I spent in the house, the more the normality of the suburban setting contrasted with the darkness creeping into its corners. The comfortable, well-maintained spaces were shadowed by a sense of foreboding that seemed to seep from the walls. I remember feeling a growing disconnect between the serene environment I expected and the uncanny reality I was facing. The scratching in the closet was just one piece of a larger, unsettling puzzle that I had to solve, and each new discovery left me more uneasy than the last. Emma's family tried to maintain a sense of normalcy despite the strange events, but it was clear that the house was affecting them all. Their attempts to rationalize the happenings, especially Emma's father's insistence on logical explanations, clashed with the tangible signs of something beyond ordinary understanding. I felt torn between the comforting nature of a family gathering and the unnerving aura that permeated every corner of the home. It was as if the very air carried the weight of secrets waiting to be unveiled. By the end of this period of investigation, I found myself more deeply entangled in the mystery of the house. The once friendly environment had transformed into a battleground between skepticism and supernatural reality. I was filled with a mix of fear, determination, and a strange sense of duty to uncover what was truly happening within those walls. The contrast between everyday life and the eerie disturbances made my journey increasingly complex, and I knew that the path ahead would reveal more than I ever expected. During one of Emma's visits, I found myself in an unfamiliar room with one of her friends. The atmosphere was tense despite the casual purpose of our gathering. We had come over for a simple afternoon hangout, but soon after settling in, a strange voice echoed through the house. It called Emma's name clearly, even though no one was in sight, sending shivers down my spine. The voice was unnervingly clear and persistent, creating a palpable sense of dread that disrupted what should have been an ordinary day. The unexplained voice spurred us into action. With each echo, our confusion grew and fear mounted. We decided to search the house, moving from room to room guided by that haunting call. As we walked through the hallways, every step felt heavier than the last, and the warmth of the house seemed to dissipate. The quiet that enveloped us was filled with unanswered questions, and each creak of the floorboards felt like a sign pointing us toward some unseen truth. Our search led us through spaces both familiar and strange. I remember the quiet tension in the air as we passed through the garage and lingered in the master bedroom, areas that always felt especially off. The house, usually so welcoming, now seemed to hold secrets in every corner. The voice calling Emma's name became a focal point of our fear, echoing throughout these eerie spaces and reinforcing the feeling that we were being drawn deeper into something mysterious. In a moment that shocked us all, Emma's older sister appeared unexpectedly. She seemed to know exactly where we were headed, her sudden presence adding another layer of complexity to the unfolding events. Her appearance deepened the mystery for me, as she carried a worried expression that reflected the gravity of what was happening. It was a silent acknowledgement that the house was no ordinary place, and that we were all caught in something we didn't fully understand. With her guidance, we continued our frantic search, hoping to find the source of the voice or some clue that would explain the haunting presence. The house no longer felt like a safe haven, but rather a labyrinth of unsettling energy and uncharted territory. Even though fear was a constant companion, the resolve to piece together the truth grew stronger with each unexplained call. I balanced my emotions between skepticism and genuine terror, trying to stay level-headed while my heart raced. The climax of our search came as Emma's sister led me and the others to a hidden corner of the house where the supernatural influence seemed strongest. Each step reinforced the unsettling reality that our world was straddling a line between the normal and the inexplicable. It was in these moments, searching through shadowed rooms guided by an unseen hand, that I truly recognized how deeply the supernatural was woven into the fabric of Emma's home. The clear, unsettling voice continued to ring in our ears, challenging our understanding of reality and foreshadowing the secrets the house still held. The revelation came gradually as Emma confided in me the deeper truths of her home. One evening, she whispered a chilling account of what she had seen in the attic above her bed. Her voice trembled as she described a moment of horror, seeing her own face reflected in a spectral presence among the shadows. This confession shattered any lingering disbelief I held, firmly establishing the supernatural nature of our experiences. It was a moment of climax that left me reeling, faced with the undeniable reality of the haunting. Emma's words led us to confront the tension that had been building over time. The atmosphere in the house thickened as we explored the connection between her frightening vision and the odd occurrences around the home. Her older sister shared a private warning about the eerie disturbances linked to Emma's room and the attic, further solidifying the presence of a malevolent force. As we pieced together these accounts, the puzzle of the haunting began to reveal a pattern that was as terrifying as it was inexplicable. The conflict between skepticism and undeniable proof reached its peak during this time. Emma's father, a steadfast advocate of logical explanations, found himself confronted with evidence that defied reason. His doubt slowly waned, replaced by an uneasy acceptance as the clear reality of the supernatural became impossible to ignore. This shift in his perspective added a layer of complexity to our interactions and forced us all to acknowledge that we were dealing with forces beyond our comprehension. The tension within the family and among friends was mirrored in my own internal battle. I struggled to reconcile my rational mind with the overwhelming evidence of the paranormal. The friendly suburban home that had once provided comfort now felt like a haunted stage for events I couldn't control. Yet in facing this fear, I discovered a strange sense of unity with Emma and her family as we all navigated the unknown together. This solidarity provided a semblance of security amidst the eerie chaos. In the aftermath of these revelations, time passed, and the family eventually moved out of the haunted house. Years later, as I look back on those experiences, I am filled with a mixture of curiosity and hesitation. The memories of that unsettling environment still linger, and though I have moved on, the questions about an afterlife and the true nature of the forces we encountered continue to echo in my mind. The unresolved nature of the haunting leaves me contemplating the existence of monsters, demons, or other entities beyond our world. Reflecting on that chapter of my life, I realized that the strange events at Emma's house changed me forever. The innocence of my teenage perspective faced off against unimaginable horror, leaving questions that remain unanswered. While I remain hesitant to return to that place or fully embrace the eerie mysteries it holds, my curiosity about what truly transpired there has not waned. The experience etched itself into my memory, serving as a reminder that some questions are meant to linger, fueling a lifelong fascination with the unknown.